Hi there, everybody. My name is Dr. Kirsten Grant. Welcome to this training. Today's training is all about and focused on you ladies to help you learn to control the urge to overeat during the holiday. Now, the feedback that I've gotten from ladies that I've talked to about this training, some ladies have shared with me, and this kind of mirrors my own story, that they have a hard time controlling the urge to overeat 365 days a year. It just makes the holiday, when it comes around, even more challenging. And that's one of the reasons why I created this training for you is the holidays are a special time of year, and it's awesome, but they have so many wonderful, delectable, tasty items that you normally don't wind up having access to throughout the year. So therefore, when you taste it, combined with just well-meaning family members, well-meaning friends, and loved ones recommending certain things, your original plans wind up going out the window. And next thing you know, you wind up gaining way more weight than you actually planned on. And you just feel really, really bad. So I am working to end that cycle. Thus, the reason for this free training. So as you can see on the slide here, these are the things that we're going to be covering. 2 secrets that have been causing women to gain weight. When you're tempted to binge, 2 very powerful questions to ask. 2 ingredients that have been linked in scientific studies to overeating, food addiction, and food cravings. Finally, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact system that I use to help a wife and a mom lose the baby weight. Okay, sound good, everybody? Type in the chat if it does. Okay, awesome. So before I get started, let me just share a little bit with you about me. Not too long though. I am a transformational health coach. Okay, these are just my fun credentials down there at the bottom, and here's my fun degree, just in case anyone's ever looking. That's my doctorate degree in health psychology. I'm working on a second doctorate degree in clinical holistic nutrition. This is because I kind of feel like the 2 go together really, really well. So that's the reason why I'm finishing that up, in order to be of service to ladies that are working on overcoming overeating and binging, especially at night. Also, I'm a certified health coach, life coach, and weight loss coach. I also am a certified personal trainer, and I'm certified in 6 Sigma process improvement. Okay. I want to also share with you a little bit more, just a smidge if you'll allow me. This is my family in the picture here. I have 2 children and 1 husband. And I can't seem to get anyone to take a decent photo though, so that's the best I could do for a photo. I don't know how people manage to get those amazing Instagram-worthy photos and family photos where everyone looks so divine and so orderly and stuff. This is the best we could do. Hopefully anyone can relate. I am also a speaker and a commissioned speaker for the International Council of Obesity and Chronic Diseases. They're having a conference next year where I'll be presenting my research findings on helping ladies that were overweight and obese actually kick and control their urges to overeat and their food cravings and their urges to binge. So I had a great success with that study. Actually, I probably should kind of back it up a little bit so that you get a better idea of the who, what, when, where, and why. Promises will not take very, very long. Scout's honor, okay? So how and why this started, okay, is because of the fact that when I was younger, I wound up having some health issues, and everyone in my family is what they call relatively big boned. Is what the charming term is, okay? And my cousin was more than big boned, and so was my mom, and so was my great grandmother, okay? And my mom, however, was the one that made the greatest impact on me. When I was younger, she went to this weight loss clinic. This was 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, actually. And she went to this weight loss clinic. This was probably the predecessor to Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig. Okay. And even though she probably at that time was about, at that point, probably a little over 200 pounds, she regularly met with these people, and she took me with her, and she would work out and they would talk to her about things. I didn't get a chance to sit on all those meetings because it was an adult thing at that time. I was a teenager, about 12-ish years old. And fast forward a couple of months later, and my mom had lost almost 60 pounds. And what that taught me was you can lose the weight. Like, my mom used to think that you couldn't lose the weight. And she tried and joined this place, just trying as a last resort. And she lost 60 pounds. And that taught me that you actually can lose the weight if you have the right support system in place. Now, you fast forward, unfortunately, 3 marriages later, which makes a total of 4 husbands. And you throw life in there with the stress and, challenges that it brings. Okay. And in between marriages, being a single parent, raising a daughter, me, and her weight ballooned up to triple what she had originally lost. Okay. And she experienced all these health problems, so many health problems. She experienced lymphedema. She experienced high blood pressure, where she had so many medications that she had to take. I mean, she had medications like, she would have this massive basket that's as wide as my hands, if you can see it. And this massive basket held, I think, at least 20 different medications. And she always felt just really guilty about it. But, she had to take those meds, so she just did what she had to do. Okay. By the time my mom passed away in 2016, late 2016, she tipped the scales at almost 400 pounds. And we could not find a coffin, a normal size coffin to put her in. We actually had to wait and get special order because of how she couldn't fit into a normal coffin. Now, at that time, I was in graduate school finishing up my doctorate degree in health psychology. And that is what just finally was the nail in the coffin for me, because you have to understand, I lost my great grandmother. I lost my cousin. And then now my mom to food addiction. And you have to understand also, at that time, we didn't know what food addiction was, but the symptoms and signs of food addiction are increased appetite where you're overeating and binging, or binging at night, food cravings, withdrawal symptoms where you're cranky, or you're driving out of your way to get the food that you want. So let's say, for example, you're home, you're almost home, and you have a food craving for cookies or cakes or McDonald's or your favorite fast food, whatever it is, okay? And you drive back. You're like, your car is parked in the garage. You could go inside, and you drive back out to go get that. Or you even comfy at home already, you drive back out in order to go get that, okay? These things are signs of food addiction. And these things, unfortunately, are the things that I witnessed with my mom. But at that time, I didn't know that that was food addiction. And when she passed away in 2016, and all the dust settled, and I was going through her things in her bedroom, and I reached down and pulled open one of her bedroom drawers and dresser drawers, and I out fell diet book after diet book, magazine after magazine on weight loss, and articles about lose the weight in 10 days and drink this, not that, in order to lose weight and never ever worry about weight gain again. And then so I took that dresser drawer, I put it on the side. Then I opened another dresser drawer and even more books on weight loss. And I started thumbing through these because some of these books were so old that they were brown on the edges. That's how old they were. And I just said, oh my goodness, there's so many books on weight loss. Now remember, my mom, she was almost 400 pounds when she passed away. And I opened the third drawer and even more magazines, articles that she had clipped and put together on the latest weight loss recipe, or the best drink or the best tea to drink in order to lose weight, or take this vitamin supplement and lose weight, or try this before bariatric surgery. These were and I looked through these articles and I'm thumbing through them one by one, and this is my third dresser drawer at this point. And something began to dawn on me that the weight loss industry and women that are trying so hard to lose weight and trying so hard to prevent the urge to overeat and trying so hard not to binge, especially at night, we have it all wrong. It's not about the amount of calories that we count. That is helpful, it's interesting, but it's not that. Especially when you keep being on this hamster wheel, back and forth of losing the weight, gaining it back, losing the weight, gaining it back. It's not that. And at that point, what I did, I dedicated myself to the last remaining time I had in my doctorate degree program to obesity research and weight loss research and the study of the mind. So I studied psychology. I studied psychoimmunology. That's the study of looking at how the body and the brain are connected to even your immune system. I studied neurolinguistic programming, also known as NLP. I study hypnotherapy. I study tapping. I study epigenetics. So far as, and what epigenetics is, for those of you that don't know, it pertains to your genes and generations of how your genes get turned on and turned off in response to certain foods, certain environmental stimuli, in order to help you be healthy or not help you be healthy. And I poured over this because, and I looked at scientific studies on why women lost weight and why women gained it all back, and how long they were able to keep the weight off. Okay. And from that, because I realized that it's not about calorie counting, I designed a study and a scientific experiment, and I recruited thousands of ladies online and to participate in my study. And I made it 4 weeks long. And I wanted to make just really simple because I was testing a theory. And you have to understand, I was testing this theory also based off of a health and fitness company that I used to own called Jade Fitness and Entertainment. And what I did there was teaching, as you can see me in that little outfit there, I taught a fusion of Middle Eastern dancing. And it worked out really, really well because it was a form of exercise, but I wanted to make it fun. Okay. And in that, I also did this is way before health coaching became popular, but it was health coaching where I was customizing certain plans for ladies and giving them recommendations on eating suggestions based on what their desired goals were, and creating specialized online workout plans and sending it to them. And it worked out really well. This is how I wound up getting on TV, on all those TV stations that you see there. Okay. And I took that education and teaching and applied it towards higher education, where I was promoted over and over again, and eventually became a dean of academic affairs. And that's the person that's responsible over all the academics and all that fun stuff and all the books and everything they're taught in school and everything everyone's taught in school. So I took all of that experience and I designed this educational health coaching study, and I applied this psychological theory called social cognitive theory to women that were interested in controlling their urges to binge and overeat and their food cravings. And I did this 10 minutes a day, weekly, 10 minutes a week for 4 weeks. And a funny thing happened because all I was really looking for were to address the symptoms and address the mind, because I realized it's not about how many calories you ingest. It's really about up here and reprogramming the brain. But I need to get a psychological theory that made that work. Okay, so I took all my experience, all my past successes, and everything I learned from running my own business and teaching and everything, and I put it into this study for these ladies online. And a funny thing happened. These ladies lost weight. I wasn't even looking for that, but they also learned to kick their food addiction symptoms in the butt. So the urges for overeating, food craving, stuff like that, it all took a sharp nosedive. And then that's when I began to realize that I might be on to something here. And I just started helping other people. And then that's how I became a transformational health coach. Okay. So hopefully that helps you learn a little bit more about me. So I've got a question for you ladies that are in this training today. There's no right or wrong answers, but just to make sure that you're in the right place. If you can answer this question for me, when I started eating certain foods, I end up eating much more than planned. 2 to 4 times a month, 2 to 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a day. For the first question, type 1. Second answer, type 2. Answer to the third question, type 3. For which one you think it is. Okay? These questions are taken from what's called the Yale Food Addiction Scale. And I'll explain to you how all this stuff fits in together, okay, with our webinar, okay, and our training. So the results in my study is that 70% of the women answered 3 to 4 times a day. One more question. How many times in the past year have you tried to cut down or stop eating certain foods altogether? Once again, just want to make sure that you're in the right place before I continue. If you're not in the right place, I am so happy that you're here. You can certainly hang around to learn some cool and interesting stuff about how to stop and control the urge to overeat. Or you can sit there, shoot me over a quick email and say, thanks, this was fun, but this isn't for me. All right, so for the answers to the question, you can type in the chat box 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So far as what your answer is. Once again, there are absolutely no right or wrong answers here. Okay. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of 4s. Okay. The results, 50% of the women in my study answered 4 times a day or more. Okay. So I'm giving you this background so that way you'll kind of have a better understanding as to whether or not you're in the right place. Okay. So let's get into it, because the reason why you're here, you want answers to the questions that were posed prior to this training. Okay, so let's train. The question that you want to answer to is, when you're tempted to binge, what in the world can you do? Well, here are 2 main questions, because the key here is to reprogram your mind and break the chains of a habitual pattern that is set up in your mind. And the only way you're going to sit there and do that is to prevent yourself from going a downward spiral of certain thoughts, okay, that lead to a chain reaction of you binging, okay? So the first thing that you need to do is to challenge your negative thought that you had, especially if this comes from you being triggered. Okay, so if you are triggered, and what I mean by that is you had a bad day at work, a loved one said something to you that really hurt your feelings, something's been building with a loved one, okay, and you're feeling rejected, you're feeling ignored, you're feeling not heard, or that you can't speak your truth, okay, and sometimes these emotions just build and build and build, and then it takes just one little push, and next thing you know, you're already triggered, and next thing you know, you're looking to food for comfort. Okay, ask yourself, whatever this thought is that's propelling you and pushing you as you stand in front of the refrigerator or the kitchen cabinet, whatever it is, okay, Is this thought helping me? I had a friend of mine that shared with me that a family member of hers, when she talked to them, always made her feel just less than, like she just wasn't good enough. And after she get off the phone with this family member, she would begin to just sink down, just her whole countenance, her whole demeanor just felt so small. Whereas before she felt large and felt so great and felt competent and capable, like she could handle anything. And after she get off the phone with this family member, really she need to take a nap. Because it was just so draining. Do you have type in the chat if you have people in your life that are like that? They're just so draining that when you get off the phone or finish talking to them, you almost just feel like you need to take a snooze. Okay, so for some ladies that suffer from overeating or symptoms of food addiction, because overeating, food cravings, binging, these are often symptoms of food addiction and people don't even know it. These are thoughts that are triggering you. Okay. So you're more inclined to give in, and then you eat certain foods that have two ingredients in them. And the next thing you know, you are overeating and binging, which we'll get into those two ingredients in a moment. So, question, ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Second question, and this is very crucial. What tools do I need to move forward or take the next step? Let me share with you why this is important to you and why you want to ask yourself that question. This is important because of the fact that your brain cannot focus on misery or a troublesome thought over here and at the same time move towards the solution to your problem. It can't do it. It's not equipped to do that. It's we're advanced animals, but at the same time, we still have certain things that and thoughts and habituations that we stick to. So when you ask yourself this question, what happens is your brain stops and starts to formulate for you, because ultimately your brain wants to and your body loves you and it wants to try to protect you. That is one of the reasons why you're overeating. Okay. So if we can sit up there and get more and closer to the root of the problem, instead of focusing on the problem and number one, identifying the problem and the trigger, the better off you are and the further you move away from the urge to binge and the urge to overeat. Now, is this a bullet solution? No. When you first begin this, it's going to pause you and you're going to obtain three things, one of three things or two things. First, the next time that you encounter an episode where you want to binge or overeat, you're going to either reduce the duration of your binging and overeating and giving into that food craving. You are also and or going to reduce the intensity of the food craving and the urge to overeat, or you're going to reduce the duration of this. Okay. And the frequency. Sorry. So duration, intensity, and the frequency is going to be the end result when you first begin to adopt these strategies that I'm recommending to you until you experience what's called extinction of the behavior that you've been doing. Okay. And it all goes at a certain pace. Okay. Now, the key here also is to avoid foods that contain MSG and high fructose corn syrup. Now, as you can see here, I have two brain scans for you. The brain scan on the right is a brain scan of the brain of someone that is overweight or obese. Both of them are brain scans of someone that's overweight and obese. And you'll notice here that the areas that are in green and a slight yellow in both brains, those are areas that are activated. This is, you'll notice, okay, for the brain on the right, the person ingested sugar. The brain on the left, the person ingested sugar. The brain on the right, the person took cocaine, ingested cocaine. Now, as you'll see, the brain is activated in the same areas just about. And my point in sharing this with you is the two ingredients, and that's the lead into the next reason why you're here, and one of the questions that I'm covering here. MSG and high fructose corn syrup have been linked in scientific studies to increasing the urge for women that are overweight, okay, or obese, compared to their normal weight counterparts. This is according to the BMI scale, okay? But compared to their normal weight counterparts, women that are overweight and obese, statistically, their brains are more vulnerable to the effects of foods containing high fructose corn syrup and MSG. Now, you can do it now if you're conveniently at home, or you can do this later, but go through your cabinet, okay? There are certain things, both frozen food, prepackaged foods, that contain these ingredients, okay? Even condiments, okay? Like ketchup and salad dressing, okay? So when you think you're eating healthy, unless and you think you're eating healthy, and it turns out your salad dressing contains one of these ingredients, even soups, okay? And I also have a worksheet that I share with ladies of the foods that contain these, the specific brands, in order to help you, and also brands that don't contain it, because it's a little hard to kind of piecemeal this all together, but you're in luck because I did. So this is why sometimes 365 days a year, why it's so hard for you to stop and put the brakes on overeating and binging, okay? Because of foods that contain MSG and high fructose corn syrup. So let's get into this a little bit, okay? Let's peel back the layers a little bit. Why avoid foods that contain MSG, okay? I wanted to give you the cycle here. The top part here, you eat. Next, neurons are damaged. Next, you wind up overeating and having these food cravings, and you gain weight, and the cycle continues, okay? MSG, what it is it's an excitotoxin. And what an excitotoxin does is that it excites the brain neurons to the point that they die, okay? So the thing is, as they die and as you're eating certain foods that contain MSG, according to scientific studies, you need to eat more and more and more of that food in order to get pleasure and feel full. So this is why you wind up gaining weight and why you can't seem to control yourself and you wind up overeating. This makes sense, guys? Everyone's still with me? Okay. Why avoid foods that contain high fructose corn syrup? Okay. So I try to make things real simple. Okay. You eat the food that contains high fructose corn syrup. It reduces the brain's ability to detect a chemical called leptin. Leptin, what it is the chemical that is responsible for detecting whether or not you are full. Ghrelin is the chemical that is responsible for making you feel hungry. So if I begin to reduce the body's ability to feel and detect that it's full, I wind up doing what? Overeating. And on top of that, I begin to have food cravings for that food, which results in me gaining weight. Is the light bulb coming on, ladies? Huh? Type in the chat if it is, okay? Now, two ingredients that have been linked to overeating and food addiction and food cravings. This is exactly what I've covered, okay? The MSG, the high fructose corn syrup. So just in case you were wondering what these are, and I always believe in delivering on what I promised, okay? So now let's get a little deeper into the other question, the reason why you're here. The two secrets that women have been taught about eating healthy that are actually making them step on the hamster wheel of losing weight and then gaining it back. Calories in versus calories out. Skip meals to make up for the naughty meals. And if the food label says low fat, then it's all good, yo. Let's go ahead and address the first one briefly. Calories in versus calories out. This is a somewhat antiquated way of looking at things, and it does have a little bit of basis, okay? And I know that I'm turning some expectations on their ear here, but there is something called the theory of biochemical individuality. Uh, and to share with you a little bit more, there was a study that was recently conducted on identical twins. And the researchers in that study wanted to see if they fed the twins pretty much the same thing, because they are physiologically the same, would their bodies react the same way? Turns out at the end of the study, which the researchers fed them, I believe, muffins, orange juice, and one other thing for breakfast, I think a banana. And they wanted to see how their bodies responded. At the end of the study, you would have assumed that both twins gained the same amount of weight, had the same body composition. They did not. One twin wound up gaining weight, one twin wound up not gaining weight at all. Okay. So this study is a perfect example and towards and testament to biochemical individuality. So calories in, calories out, if you start doing that math and think that that's the equation, no. You have to find out what works for you. And sometimes you already know what works for you, okay? One person may thrive great off of going vegetarian. You try it and you feel like you're about to pass out by the end of the day. Make sense? So you have to find out what works for you instead of just purely and simply counting calories. Calories is a good yardstick, okay, a good general guide, but that is not the end all be all to weight loss, okay, and controlling your urge to overeat and keeping you from gaining weight. Which leads me to the skipping meals to make up for naughty meals. All that does is just really make your insulin level and your glucose level drop, and then you're really, really hungry. And then as soon as you are ready to go to bed, if you've been eating really light, skipping meals or whatever, then you wind up binging at night. Now, there was a study that was done recently on women that had challenges with and experienced challenges with nighttime binging. And what the researchers found in that study is if they increase their level of protein throughout the day consistently for their body types, they found that they drastically slashed the urge to binge at night. Okay, so don't skip meals. Also, what it does psychologically is two things in your mind. First, your brain sits up there and feels like by the time you are able to scarf down something, well, I skipped breakfast and I skipped lunch or whatever, so I deserve this because it's been deprived, okay? And then the second thing that it does psychologically is that it makes you screaming, raving, mad, lunatic hungry, okay? Third, okay, I know I said two secrets, but I like to underpromise and overdeliver. If the label says low fat, then it's good. A lot of the time, not always, you have to check your label, okay, or get a list from me. But a lot of the times, food manufacturers, you got to think of this. Food manufacturers, when they create something, let's say that you make cookies for a living, okay? You want those cookies to last for as long as possible once you put them on the shelf of the store. You get this contract with your local supermarket. You don't want your cookies to go bad and then they pull the plug on your contract that's making you millions of dollars. So what do? You offer a low-fat cookie, but you got to make it taste good and you've got to make that cookie last. So what do? Enter high fructose corn syrup and maybe MSG if it needs a little bit of extra help. High fructose corn syrup, you have to understand, it's cheaper as food manufacturers to add it in. Number one. Number two, it really makes the food taste sweet, okay, for less price, less than the cost of sugar. And number three, it helps the food with what's called texture and humescency, I think is the actual word for it. So the mouth feel, essentially, as you're chewing on said cookie, why it feels good in your mouth and makes you want to eat it. So this is the reason why high fructose corn syrup is added to said cookie. Okay, and it makes it last longer on the shelf. Problem is, when you make something that's low fat, you've got to find a way to make it taste good. Enter high fructose corn syrup a lot of the time, and then a sprinkle of MSG, depending upon the item. Boom, you've got a recipe for you to wind up overeating. Not to mention the psychological part, where a lot of times women will sit up there and think, awesome sauce. It's low fat, so that means I can eat a little bit more. Okay, so you can see how this whole thing kind of goes a little haywire. Okay, so once again, just to quickly review with back on the basis of my study here, okay, majority of study participants, what they wound up doing is that they experienced a significant improvement, okay, in their weight loss efforts, and everything went down. Okay. They also, in that 4-week study, they experienced reduced binges. They had experienced reduced overeating following this plan, and with the information that I've shared with you over the course of this training, reduced food cravings, and also increased weight loss. Okay. All right. So I've covered everything with you in this training. I invite you, number one, if you just went with this, the information I gave you, it is a wonderful start to cleaning up the way that you eat. Okay. However, if you would like more help, if you would like for someone to take you by the hand and work with you personally, okay, and give you additional support to help you get to your health goal, especially as you encounter these bumps in the road, I invite you to stay for the rest of the live training. It should take no more than 10 more minutes, okay? Because what I'm about to share with you is what I have done to make what I already found even better, okay? So once again, for anyone that has enjoyed this training, I am so happy that you did, and I definitely would encourage you to stay around. But if you are not interested in getting additional help in helping you make this work and helping you obtain your health goals of fighting that urge to overeat, fighting that urge to sit there and binge, especially at night, and get some additional support and some additional help where someone just tells you and helps you and doesn't share with you the same stuff that you've heard before, okay? Because it's customized and personalized to you. I invite you to stay around because I have something to show you in regard to how I took what I already did in that 4-week study. That was just 10 minutes a week, okay, with information I share with them via training and coaching, and I made it better. So if you want to hang around for that, I invite you to stay on for just an extra 10 minutes, okay? So, all right, so let me show you what I've done here, okay? There. Okay, so this is my vision of improving, taking something that worked already and improving it. Okay, so this is edibleaddiction.com. This is based on my scientific study that helped women get results. Okay, and it was all conducted completely online. Okay, so that way you didn't even have to worry about like going anywhere or meeting times or any of that stuff. And the information I am sharing with you now, this information is what helped ladies that are moms, especially one mom specifically, that she just wanted to lose that baby weight. Okay. And it really helped her just feel more comfortable in her skin. Okay. All right. So this is edibleaddiction.com. This is the website here. Okay. So if you go here, you'll sit up there and see information here, because I do provide a lot of free information. But what I also would like to sit there and show you are the classes. Okay. Now, there are 6 modules that I cover here. In addition to the 6 modules and the lessons here, where I go deeper into how to reprogram your brain and how to install micro habits and small wins and small victories that eventually lead up to you replacing and tossing out that old hardware that was contributing to you not reaching your health goals. Okay. And I go deep because what's important here is looking at everything. You have to look at everything. You have to look at what's called your life wheel, which I'll show you that in a moment. Okay. But you have to go deeper and look at the factors and the thoughts and your career and your personal life, your relationships, even, okay, even some of the things that you don't even know that are kind of steering your boat subconsciously. Okay, so this is just an example of one of the modules here. Well, this is one of the physical modules, but to get in, you have to start. But this is just one of the modules in the title. So module 1, 2. I also like to discuss, and the reason why module 2 is so important to me is that I like to talk about things that nobody talks about as to what contributes, for example, to why you didn't stick to your previous diet. Okay, because all of us have tried dieting at one point in time. Why didn't it stick? For example, I'm going to give you a little bit of information that's from the course, okay? One of the hidden truths that nobody wants to talk about in terms of eating healthier is the cost. And I don't mean cost by, that organic broccoli costs $10 versus $5. I'm talking about, I tried this healthy recipe, I didn't like it, and now I got all this food sitting up there in the fridge that I'm not going to eat. Or I bought the healthy food. Okay, I bought the cucumbers, the tomatoes, all that stuff. And I looked in the refrigerator and it is a science project down there. Very wet, very yucky. Has that happened to anybody in here? Where you went out and you bought all this healthy food and everything, and you said, I'm going to change. I'm going to switch this around. I'm going to make this tomato lentil soup, whatever it is. Okay. And then life gets busy. And also because you're not in the habit of making that item, okay, you forget about it. And then all of a sudden you remember it. But by the time you remember it, it's in the bottom of your refrigerator and it could win a science project prize for the beautiful array of colorful, fluffy mold that has grown around it. Okay. And I will show you in the classes and in our one-on-ones, okay, how to keep that from happening. Okay. Here's module 3 and what's covered there. Okay. Module 4, just say yes. We're going to delve deeper into the benefits of consuming foods that are free MSG. So I touched upon that just a smidge bit here. 9 tricks to helping you stick to your goals. Okay. This is where we go deeper into some of the programming for your brain and reprogramming your brain. And I'm a realist for module 6. Let's talk sweets, because I would be crazy to sit up there and say to you, let's never touch a sweet again. Why am I a realist here? Because I myself, if someone told me just to give up sweets and not touch them ever again, not touch a cake, not touch a cookie, I'd be kind of mad at them. And this is the thing. I want this to be sustainable for you. Okay. This was created based off of not only my scientific study and inspired by my mother passing away with that discovery of seeing that it's more than calories. This was also built and inspired by my own life, okay? By sticking to the things I'm going to teach you, it helped me go and survive 2 pregnancies. I gained the typical amount of weight and then some. I think the first pregnancy I gained about 32 pounds. Second pregnancy I gained 45 pounds. And I was able to drop that weight and still be able to get back into fitting into some of my old pre-pregnancy clothes. So it's possible. And it was without starving myself. It was without counting calories. So, and I've made a whole lot more improvements since then to this plan. Also, here's some bonus material, 10 effective strategies to reduce emotional eating. Now, if you were to click on each one of these modules, you would find several other subtopics located in there. Okay, so this is not like an end all be all. Also, there's help if you wind up getting stuck, aside from all the other things that I'm going to be sharing with you, but there's some email, my personal phone number. Okay, so there is help. Okay, now let me share with you just a smidge bit more and then we'll be done. I would love for you to meet Heather. Okay, Heather was one of the ladies that participated in my program, and this is the picture of her on the left, and then this is a more recent picture of her on the right. Her full story is on edibleaddiction.com, but she states, you may wonder, how did you lose all the weight? And to that I answer, one day I just got really sick and tired of being sick and tired. There's more information on her story on edibleaddiction.com, but these are her results with her participation in my program. I also would love for you to meet Marie as well. Marie, we are trying to get this up here, and unfortunately, there it goes. Here you go.
Hello, my name is Marie Hyman, and I decided to start this food program because I am an obsessive compulsive eater, and I have gained about 70 pounds over, maybe a 5-year period, and the overeating got way out of hand, and I noticed that it was an emotional issue, and certain foods made me want more and more and more. And so I found that the program that I've been following has been helping me with the looking at the ingredients in the products that I buy, and if there's high fructose corn syrup, or if the sugars are high, the carbohydrates are high. And I've been just following a lot of the ideas that were given to me by Kirsten, and realizing that if I just don't pick up that first one, that I don't really want more and more and more. And if I put my thoughts to something else and don't go to it, and maybe go outside for a few minutes, or look at some nature or something like that, that the thought disappears. So far, I've lost 15 pounds with this program, and I'm continuing working hard at it. I have good days and bad days, and I'm not perfect, and none of us are, but I try. It's in my mind all the time now about trying to eat the right things rather than eat all day like I'm used to eating. So I've been buying produce and a lot different foods that I keep in sight that are healthy, instead of the unhealthy things, the chips and the candies and stuff like that. So they keep my mind also in the right place, and they also keep me motivated to eat the right things. And that'll be all for me. So thank you, and everybody, we can do this. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you so much, Marie, for sharing your story. So just to give you a brief rehash, okay, when you decide to change and join edibleaddiction.com, the first thing that we're going to do here, I'm going to do something called your life wheel. And this is where I look at your personal life, your career, your beliefs, your health and fitness. I've already covered the modules, what I wind up covering with you. And the reason why the first thing we discuss is your life wheel is because these are the things that flow into each other that contribute to you either succeeding at your health goals effortlessly, or starting, hamster wheel, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, which is what you don't want. So I want to make this something that's completely sustainable, and at the same time give you the individualized attention that you need. Here's what we covered today, and that hopefully I promised and delivered on. I covered with you the exact system that I use to help a wife and a mom lose the baby weight. I covered when you're tempted to binge, 2 powerful questions to ask. I covered 2 ingredients to stay far away from that have been linked in scientific studies to food addiction, overeating, and food cravings. 2 secrets also that women have been taught about healthy eating that's actually making them step on the hamster wheel of losing weight and then gaining it back. So these are all the fun, awesome things that I've covered in this training for you to help you fight the urge to overeat, especially during the holidays. Now, you could take these tips and you could really have a great way to get started, okay? But if you want additional help and if you desire for someone to take you by the hand, look at a deep dive and immerse themselves in you, in your life with customized, personalized attention to help you control the urge to overeat, then I've designed something that will help and that's been scientifically proven to help. What you'll wind up getting with an edible addiction is 6 modules, which would help you identify those limiting beliefs, control overeating, and implement these customized goals of yours over the course of 12 weeks. You're going to get recipe ideas where you're going to get customized, nutritious, and tasty recipe ideas based on what it is that you like to eat and what your taste palette and flavor palette is in order to help you support your lifestyle. You're also going to have access to a live group Q&A with video webinar sessions once a week. You're also going to have an opportunity to talk to other like-minded individuals in a special Facebook group that I've designed just for you. And because I don't know if you know this, but a majority of online courses that people sign up for, especially that do-it-yourself stuff, they fail. Actually, I believe less than 10% of people that sign up for online courses where they're supposed to do it themselves actually complete them. So here's the thing. I'm not designing that for you to fail. You're not going to fail. And this is the reason for those live group webinars and sessions once a week. And on top of that, in addition to that, 4 immersions where for 60 minutes, you and I are just going to get on the phone, one-on-one, you and I, where we talk it out, week 1, 3, 6, 9, and 12. Also, I'm giving you some additional bonuses. That emotional eating course, for those of you that are triggered with emotion in terms of overeating your binges, especially at night, I'm giving you a course on how to fight emotional eating. I'm also including a weekly video series for you on how the heck do I make this. That's really what it's called. How the heck do I make this weekly video series? And since I am a personal trainer, a certified personal trainer, I'm going to, after talking to you, okay, because everybody, let's face it, everyone has to find what works for them in terms of calorie burn, okay? Some people are awesome gym rats, and that's cool. Okay. Some people are like, I hate exercise. I've talked to one lady that said that. Actually, I've talked to a couple of ladies that said that. It's not that you hate exercise. It's just that you haven't found what works for you yet. So because I am a certified personal trainer, here's my card right here in case you're wondering. Because I am a certified personal trainer, I can give you what you need in that area, and together we'll just simply design what works for you in terms of a workout. Okay, it doesn't have to be the barbells. And also, for those of you that don't have a gym membership, we can even talk about something that works for you where you work out from home. Okay, you don't always have to have a gym. Okay, so it just really depends on you. But the point is, let's design something for you, talking to you, that you desire, that works. And then that way you'll be able to actually stick to it a whole lot better. Okay. Now, the personal before I ask, how does this all sound to everybody? Is this sounding pretty good? So we're talking about recipe ideas. We're talking about the emotional eating and getting into those triggers and finding out what's triggering you so that you can slowly just turn off the light on what's causing you to binge and overeat. I'm talking about life coaching here. Okay. Life coaching just on its own has been proven to be extremely helpful on removing some of the mind blocks and barriers to getting you to the point of reprogramming your brain, throwing off the old programming, okay, and the old you to help move you towards your future you, and having these sessions once a week. All right. The reality is you're winding up having sessions twice a week on the days that you have the individual one-on-one sessions with me and the group coaching in the webinar. And don't forget, you also get the Facebook group as well, so you can converse with other like-minded individuals. And that way you don't get stuck. And it goes without saying, email access to me, total email access to me in case you get stuck no matter what, because I want you to succeed. Okay. Now, I went to college for all this fun stuff. College after college after college, because my my perfectionistic tendencies, and just also, I just didn't want to get it wrong with helping you. And to be honest, I enjoyed trying to crack this puzzle. You know, once my mother passed away in 2016, and I went through all those dresser drawers filled with nothing but books and pamphlets going back to before I was born. So we're talking 1970s here, okay? Just to give you a hint on my age. And she, despite all this information at her fingertips, in print that is, okay, she still couldn't seem to crack this code once life got a hold of her, and 4 marriages later. And like I said before, for those of you that might have forgotten, she had lost the weight at one point in time. She lost 60 pounds. So she knew how to do it. But why wasn't she able to tap into it again? Why wasn't she able to make it sustainable? And I have cracked the code with that. And I would prefer, now you can if you want to, I would prefer that you not spend $300,000 like I have. That's me and my little red wagon. But I would prefer that you not spend $300,000 to conduct the research, design a study, get certified, get the degrees, okay, not to mention the other part in the story that I didn't tell you, which was me for 1 year creating and compiling a list by walking around the grocery store and looking on websites to find almost all the most commonly consumed foods that contain high fructose corn syrup and MSG, and creating a list of foods that tasted good but didn't have it. And I'm talking about foods like cake, cookies, ice cream, which I do recommend, and that's what my participants that have taken this program before, they are able to eat that. Okay, so I'm not saying never touch a cookie or ice cream or a cake, because that would just be cruel. Okay, so you're getting the personalized online training, and I don't know about you ladies, how many people have signed up for personal trainers in the past? Okay, if you have 3 sessions a week with a personal trainer for 1 month, those prices can really, really get up there. Okay, 3 sessions a week, which is what they usually recommend at minimum, or 4 sessions a week, can easily range from $1,000 to $2,000 just for the personal trainer alone. Okay, if you see a nutritionist that doesn't talk to you about the other parts of your life, just designs you a meal plan and that's it, and gives you recommendations on foods that you may not even like. I've heard quotes for a nutritionist ranging from $1,000 for the month as high up as $5,000. So I want to make this obtainable. Okay, so I am not going to recommend that you pay that. Okay, so I'm not going to charge you almost $4,000 just for those 2 components. Because I want to make this something that's obtainable. What I'm going to sit there and do instead is give you all of this, plus all the bonuses that I talked about. So the Facebook group, 12 weeks, okay, of coaching, the one-on-one conversations where I'm immersing myself in you, the live webinars, the 6 modules that have been scientifically proven. So this is just not an experiment, okay? This is scientifically proven. I'll be presenting these research findings next year at the International Council of Obesity and Chronic Diseases, okay? Don't spend the money that I spent, okay, to get to this point. Take advantage of my fiendish need and thirst for knowledge and make it easy on yourself, especially that part about walking around the grocery store for a year and checking on almost every food label. Don't do that. You can if you want to, but don't. So I want to make this obtainable. So the price for this is only $19.97, which is a steal of a deal for the level of personalized attention that I'm going to be giving to you. And I am excited about how much attention I'm going to be giving to you. And I'm excited to learn more about you and craft something that works. And don't forget, we also have the food recipes in there too, okay? So I am hoping that you have enjoyed this training. My name is Dr. Kirsten Grant. I am a transformational health coach. It's just a little bit more about me here. What I covered already. I'm the founder of Phoenix 6 and the creator of edibleaddiction.com. This is my contact information here. The training that you've sat in on is controlling the urge to overeat this holiday that I designed just for you ladies that are fighting the urge to give into your food cravings, overeat, or binge. The next step to work together, I invite you to have a conversation. Just a 15-minute conversation with me because I'd like to learn a little bit more about you personally. And in that 15-minute conversation, let's discuss more about what your top challenge is, and see if this is something that is a good fit and a good mesh, and if I can help you, because I recognize that everyone's not a good fit for this. Okay. Now, some people may sit up there and say they want to do this on their own. Okay. Some people like to go ahead and read books and look on Google and all that fun stuff. And if you're one of those people, it's okay that you are. But you're going to spend a lot of time on that. You're going to wind up spending a whole lot of tries and experiments to see what works. Would this diet work? Did that diet work? And let's try this way of eating and not that way of eating, and seeing if it works, and then losing the weight and gaining the weight back and all that fun stuff. You're going to lose time and you're going to lose money if you try different techniques and approaches. You'll get there eventually. It's very true, but instead, I did it already. I already experimented, and I already watched my mom experiment, and that's how she has 3 dresser drawers filled with nothing but diet books ranging back from the 1970s. I watched my grandmother experiment, okay? I watched my cousin experiment. And all of these ladies, unfortunately, went through and burned through a lot of time. They wound up being really, really frustrated. And they never got to really the root of the doggone problem because they were missing that coaching component there. So instead of hodgepodging all of this stuff together, I don't know about you, but I personally, I don't care for the hodgepodge anymore. I did at one point, but I don't want to hodgepodge anymore. And I don't know about you, what your motivator is. Some ladies would prefer to hodgepodge and piece stuff together, but you burn through a lot of time and you burn through a lot of money. Some ladies just simply say, I'd rather stay where I'm at and keep taking the medications that I'm taking. I don't want to be one of those kind of people. Okay. The ladies that I've worked with, they're interested in getting to the solution right now. Something that's tried, scientifically proven. This isn't even one of those things where it's my life story and I don't have an idea if it works. It works. It legitimately works. I tested it on women nationwide. Okay. So if this sounds like something that would be of interest to you, then I invite you to have a conversation with me for about 15 to 20 minutes. The link is going to be included where you can click on there, or you can contact me personally at my contact information that I have listed here. Everyone, I have enjoyed your attendance here. I am certainly looking forward to having some conversations with you, if only nothing else, just simply to learn more about you and save you a little bit of money and save you a little bit of time. And at the same time, help you stop overeating and dealing with these food cravings and learning to control them and just control those urges to binge at a much cheaper rate than just going at this on your own and the reduced frustration, but based and customized to what you like and what you want and what makes you happy and what brings you joy. All right. Thank you so much for attending this training. Everyone, have a wonderful day. I'm Dr. Kirsten Grant. You've sat in on the training of Ladies Control the Urge to Overeat this holiday. Bye.